Joe,
Cynthia.
oh, hi. Thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with me. And we have known each other for years due to the fact,
Years, 10 years, Cynthia.
yeah. And, I've followed your journey, of course, through the Power franchise. And I just want to congratulate you on how well Force has been doing. You, of course, are an amazing actor, but this story is really resonating with fans on social media. So, can you talk about what the difference has been in your roles with Power as opposed to what has been going on with the Force series?
Well, I think that you just have to see what was different, and that's Gary Lennon. We just needed Gary Lennon back to do this incredible storytelling. I think that Gary was really able to get us back to OG Power vibes. I think that nobody understands the character better than myself and Gary Lennon. Um, he made my job so easy. He writes dialogue for the Tommy character so perfectly that sometimes I felt like I was cheating because it took no time at all to memorize it because that's what Tommy would say. I also think that he's such a wonderful craftsman of the storytelling that he weaves a yarn, but that yarn is connected to another yarn that's connected to another yarn, and then we're going to get to the point of the story. So he just is an incredible craftsman in that way, and I think that was reflected in what the audience put in social media. All I saw after every episode that I wish I could retweet or interact even more with the fans is that they just said, "Wow, Tommy's back! Wow, Tommy's back!" And it's like Tommy didn't go anywhere necessarily, but Gary is back. Really, would be the thing. And I think that Gary did a wonderful job of responsibly telling the story of Chicago in terms of how racially divided it can be, not just black and white, but black and white and Latin as well in a big capacity. And then he just the poor, when the child got shot, and I don't mean Leon, Leon as well though too. The gun violence, the unnecessary violence, people, innocent people getting harmed and hurt in this city, I think was responsibly done. And then also just to the character. I'm sorry I'm so long winded, Cynthia, but I've been shut up from this strike for so long.
I
Um,
know, be long winded.
I just think that the what Tommy had such a much more difficult time in this second season navigating through the city of Chicago. That I really enjoyed. I really liked that Gary made the city very tough and very new to Tommy, where he didn't necessarily always trust his gut, and that's what got him in trouble. When we had Holly Weaver come back, wonderfully played by Lucy Walters, and warn him, Tommy, you're going to destroy this stuff. But really, also saying, you got to go with your gut. If you half step this, if you fall in love, if you take your eye off the prize, you're not going to make it to the finish line. You took me out to make it to the finish line. You took this unborn child out to make it to the finish line. Are you really going to give it all up for somebody else right now too? It was just so exciting. I think that it was palpable how much fun I was having this second season.
Yeah, I'm sorry that we lost a couple of Flynns because that was an interesting storyline too. But I'm really intrigued about what's going to happen in the next season because this cliffhanger had my stomach in knots. I was able to see it, of course, on a different platform than the other fans, so I already know exactly what happens. And of course, every time one of the series has a cliffhanger, it's of course something interesting and will be talked about for quite some time. But this one has my mind racing, trying to figure out what is Tommy going to do next because of what happens in the very last scene. Now, you've kind of always been a beast, but I think beast mode is going to go into full effect next season because of the fact that you've been betrayed by several characters on there. But I also liked what was happening with your relationship with DMAC because it shows the uncle nephew type
Mm-hmm.
of trajectory, even though of course DMAC is very rebellious. I like the fact that you've tried to kind of take him under your wing to some degree. So can you talk about that relationship a little bit?
Absolutely. I love the uncle nephew relationship between the true one of with Lucian Cambridge, who plays DMAC. Lucian Cambridge is a Chicago born and bred, and a wonderful actor and a great human being. And a lot of his kind of genuineness, I think that he's able to bring out in terms of DMAC. He is such a all heart young man, and I love that he's put that into the DMAC character, that he's all heart. I mean, he's hot headed, but at the end, he loves his family, and Tommy truly loves him. I think that when Tommy sent him away to Wisconsin to that camp, so he would stay out of trouble, I think that is as harsh as that seemed to DMAC at the time, he knows that that was done out of love. But again, anything that Tommy Egan loves is in trouble. So I cannot wait to see what happens with the DMAC Tommy relationship. I think that Tommy probably needs DMAC a little bit more than he realizes in a lot of different ways. So I love it. I love it. I love working with that young actor. And so I can't wait to see what happens next too.
And speaking of love, I love the relationship that you have with Maria, because you've had girlfriends on the other series, but this one was a little bit different to me. So can you talk about what you find as having been the difference between your relationship with Maria and what you had with Lakeisha and Holly and other women?
Right. It's interesting. I would say that she's kind of these different elements of Lakeisha and Holly. Um, I think that because she wants out of the game, like she doesn't want to be part of it so much. She has such a bad taste in her mouth from being involved so heavily that her brother, I mean, like she was just involved by default. But she knows how to handle the other side of the law. She certainly knows how to handle the police. We saw that when Stacey Marks came to her and tried to warn her about this, Lakeisha Grant. But she was just like, no, you can't come in. No, I know what my rights are. I know that I think that Carmela Zumbato, who plays Maria Garcia, I think she does an incredible job at this toughness. So when there's the love there, when there's the romance there, I think it's so earned that it's such a wonderful payoff that just even in terms when they get close and then they do kiss, it's like this, there is a fire there, but there's also this hesitant, she's constantly hesitant of like, oh, what am I doing? But she can't help it. So I love the kind of like she can't control, like it's just magnets. They're magnetically going towards each other. And I feel like it's a good thing for Tommy, but I am scared because any woman in Tommy's life, including his mother, is in trouble.
Yeah, they are in trouble. Are there any actors or actresses on the series that you've had more of an opportunity to bond with off camera? Because I know certain characters you don't really have a lot of scenes with, but and then of course everyone's busy. But is there anybody that you hang out with when or have hung out with when there's been free time?
Yeah, Leela Lauren, who played Angela Valdez, oddly enough, in terms of the characters, is one of my very dear, close friends. We both live close to each other in Brooklyn, and we hang out all the time, go for walks. I hope she's feeling better. She was a little under the weather yesterday. But yeah, so that's a surprise to, I think, to a lot of fans, especially when they see us out walking in Brooklyn together. People are like, "Tommy, you're with Angela?" It's like, yeah, that's my girl right there.
Didn't she get killed off before?
Yeah, exactly. Why'd you kill her? She's not. She's alive.
Yeah. Now, going back to Chicago, which is where you're from, and being able to help put Chicago on the map in a different way, where we get to see more of what Chicago is really like. what has it been like having a journey that has taken you from Chicago to put you in the main spotlight of entertainment?
Well, I mean, it's been a real luxury going back to the city where I was born and raised. The only other city that I've lived for as long as I lived in Chicago is here in New York. So that was kind of fun to be a Chicagoan who lives in New York, and the reality, and then Tommy Egan being a New Yorker going to Chicago was kind of odd and fun and wonderful. But the main thing is, I think that in season two we have Gary Lennon, and Gary Lennon is really the voice of Tommy, and he's every inch of Gary Lennon is New York, and so I think that he really brought the voice back to Tommy. So there was so much more of the fish out of water thing. Tommy really learning, Tommy having to use his brain to stay alive, not just his brawn. To kick down the door, but we see Tommy picking locks this season and thinking steps ahead of the game. So I really enjoyed that part because Gary, I think, wisely used elements of the ghost character that now Tommy had to utilize. They've always been there, just dormant. And now that it was a necessity, he saw that because I think Gary just really was responsible with how tough a city Chicago is. And I'll tell you this, and my little brother always says this: Chicago is a hating ass city. It's like if you leave, no, you sold out. If you stay, you don't got no guts. Like it's just like it's so hard to find that love in Chicago. But I was so proud of all the love we get in Chicago because the second season, the audience, like you were saying, it was online. Everybody's like, "You got it. You got the Chi this time." That's the real. That's the city. This is what we accepted. And I think in the same way that the original Power show got the blessing of New York and then was off to the races, I think that we've accomplished that now.
Yep, you've definitely accomplished your goal. And I know that in season 3, you're going to continue canceling Christmas on a lot of people.
You better believe it.
More now than ever. Thank you so much for
it.
this wonderful interview with Right On Digital. And I can't wait to talk to you again soon.
Same. We got to keep this consistent. We got a good thing going.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.